I want to give you a quick little demonstration of Power LogOn. Now we talk about Power LogOn being a multi-factor authentication enterprise password management solution. And that sounds like quite a bit, but it's very easy to understand what we're doing. The Power LogOn software is made up of two parts. The first of all is the client portion. Now this is the software that sits on all the employees' desktops and laptops computers to be able to log them into their websites, servers, applications, and clouds. Then there's the IT administration portion, which is basically the card management system. This allows IT to configure Power LogOn to match the company's security policies and procedures. Now, we're doing multi-factor authentication, which means I have to have at least two different identifiers coming together of authentication. So I'm using a Contact smart card and smart card reader that's connected to my computer through the USB port. So if I go ahead and start Power LogOn, Power LogOn gives me the flexibility to work with many readers. So first I select the reader. Now I insert my card into the reader. So once it has gone ahead and realized that it's something it has, now it's going to ask me for what do I know? Well, that's my PIN. So I'm going to go ahead and just enter in the PIN to the card. Now entering this PIN has nothing to do with any of the passwords that are related to logging onto the computer or any of my networks. It's just showing that I know the secret to unlock the card, the smart card. Now the smart card, after I have successfully done that, is going to the computer and it's going through another set of multi-factor authentications where the computer is looking at saying, okay, is there a card present? Yes, so it's something it has. It's then asking the card, okay, do you know the secrets? Yes, it knows the encryption keys. Great, so now it's something it knows. And then it also looks at the unique identifier number, the chip card identifier, that to prove that it's something that it is. So therefore, we now go through another series of multi-factor authentication. So right now we've actually done 5 factors. Well, not really 5 factors, but 5 assurance layers. Now, the next thing that will happen is that we go through a mutual challenge and response scenario between the chip and the smart card to the server. And this is showing that whether or not the chip is the correct chip, that is not a clone chip, that somebody hasn't fraudulently tried to manipulate the chip, and at the same time the chip is verifying that the server it's trying to connect to is the right server and that nothing has changed there. And once all that has happened, then I get my list of all my different accounts. And this whole process only takes a matter of a few seconds. So now I have all these different accounts that I want to get into. So let's say I want to get into a website called authorize.net, which is our payment processing service. Well, I want to be sure I have a nice long secure password on that site. And I don't want to have it typed in where a keylogger could pick up to it. I don't want to write it on a post-it note where someone could see it. And certainly by not knowing it, I don't have to worry about a social engineering attack where somebody will ask me what my password is. So all I do is double click onto it. It automatically launched the browser, in this case Internet Explorer. It filled in my username password for me automatically and I'm in. And that's all it was required, just 2 simple clicks with the mouse. Now we also have a number of other applications that we work with. These are third-party applications. Some have actually implemented our API code and some haven't. We work out of the box with a lot of different software. So I want to show you one where we encrypt the hard drive. And this is where we put a partition on the hard drive that all the data that's stored in there is encrypted to military standards. And if the laptop or the desktop was ever stolen, it wouldn't matter because the data would be useless to them. They would not know how to decrypt and read the information. So to kind of give you an example and show you what I'm talking about, if I look at my computer here, you see that I have a number of different drives, but there is no S drive in there whatsoever. And that's my secure drive. So I'm going to go ahead and close that for right now and go down to this little icon here, which is the Safe House software, and just simply double click onto it. Because they took our API code, they went ahead and made it so that now their software automatically goes to the Power LogOn system to grab its unique username and password. And that's, I think, is a 30-character long password I have to protect that file. And now it looks like a normal file. And if I go back to my computer system here, you see I now have that S drive. There's also some other applications that we're doing where people are, are very interested in electronic medical records and what's going on in healthcare. So here's one where this company, again, used our API code, and you just simply double click onto it and it automatically launches it and put in the username, password, and now I'm into the EMI software. And if I removed the card, I would be logged off of this system. So here's another example of what we did with QuickBooks. Now QuickBooks, we did not have to make any changes whatsoever to the software. Our Power LogOn works right out of the box with it. And I simply just click on to the QuickBooks account. It launches the application. It will bring up the logon screen. It will then get the information from the card, fill it all in, and now I'm automatically into QuickBooks, and I can then do all my accounting information. Again, I don't know the password. I don't need to know the password, and IT can actually be in the background changing it. So that's a little bit about how Power LogOn from the client version works. There's a lot more features and functionalities in there, but we can go over those at another time. So the next area is the administrative software. And I've already pre-launched this, so I don't have to open it up. Here's where the IT administrator load in your different licenses. You do all your card configurations. You can also set up what kind of cards. You can view and edit the card holders. There are different tools out here where you can combine this with other databases. For example, HR database or maybe your physical access database. You can have different types of reporting systems going on. So I'm going to go and show you a couple of things here on the card setting. So here's the first screen, and you saw that we used a PIN to get into the card. Well, here I can use a PIN, I could do a fingerprint scan, I could do a PIN or fingerprint, PIN and, so it's 3 factors there. And we've also had some instances where the customer did not want a PIN or anything else at all. So you have that option too. You have the default pins that you can do, and then as soon as the default is entered, then the card administrator or the card user has to go in and change everything to a pin that they know. And we have verifications, timeouts. If you haven't used Power LogOn in this case 10 minutes, then you're going to be required to re-enter in the pin. If you use it within the 10 minutes, and then that counter starts again from 0 and you move forward. Also for the policy here. What do you want the PIN policy to be? You might decide that, the minimum character should be 4, and maybe it's 8, but you have alphanumeric character. You got numbers. I mean, you can decide what you want to do. Maybe you want to have it also where you have to have a number character in there, but there has to be at least 2 numbers in the PIN itself. So again, as an IT person, you configure all of this, and then you can determine whether or not the employee is allowed to change any of those configurations once they have set. General is certainly just how you generally get into the Power LogOn system. What do you want it to have happen when it launches? Where is it going to pop up? Things like that. Windows LogOn, again, this is what's going to happen when you log on to the Windows computer. But, when you first turn on your computer, instead of seeing that screen where you have to go and type in your username password, it will now come up and show you a screen by insert your card and type in your PIN. And now the password to get into your computer network system is part of the Power LogOn system, and it automatically will insert that in there. So it can, again, be a 20 long character password. Who cares? You don't have to type it or remember it. The other thing about this that we do because of the smart card capabilities is what do you want to have happen when the card is removed from the reader? So if I leave, set up now for no action, but I could set it up to where it will log me off as the user. So if this is a computer that has multiple users, access accounts, then the next person comes in, the next user puts in their card, and now this becomes their computer. So it knows different users. As well as you could lock the system, which is basically the sleep mode that Microsoft has. Shut down the system where you pull the card out, the whole computer system goes into the shutdown mode and turns off the computer. Hibernation, standby, and different kinds of things here. But then we can also create custom scripts for you so that if there's something particular that you want to have happen when the card is removed that's not part of the normal Windows process, not a problem. We can go ahead and fix that too. Then, what's your Windows policy? Again, setting up the passwords, maybe this one, instead of having it to 4 to 8, you're going to set this up to where every password has to be a 30 character long password. for the windows. And you set up both. What's the minimum, maximum? And both would come up to be 30. And then the kinds of characters that you need, uppercase, lowercase numbers. And when there's an X there, it means that there's not going to be a special character in there. If there's a 0, then there could be a numeric character, or maybe not, depending on what you're trying to do. And then if I change something to, let's say, 2, then I know that there has to be at least 2 uppercase characters into the password that I'm creating. And so again, just different kinds of configurations that you can do. Same thing for the applications. What's your web policy and passwords here? Same thing, setting up is all very similar. Backup, where do you want the backup data being stored? Server configurations. So it goes on and on. But then once you have finished up this configuration, you can actually save this as a particular group. So for example, in a hospital, you might have doctors, nurses, administrators, staff people. Each one could have different rights and privileges and policies that you want them to maintain. Well, you can just go ahead and assign that to a user group. And now all doctors will have that group. And what also is kind of neat about the whole Power LogOn system is that because we are able to tie into other databases, you can identify who are the doctors, who are the nurses, who are the administrators, and those user groups will be assigned to those people. And once the whole system is set up, you don't have to recollect cards or buy new cards and rebadge people. A lot of times what people do is just be able to use their existing badges and they self-enroll themselves. So now the employee can go from computer to computer to computer with their card. They don't have to enroll again. They've already done that. But now they have access to all those different computers. So your passwords are not sitting on a particular computer. They're actually either in Active Directory or they're actually on the card, depending again on how things are set up. We want to make Power LogOn so convenient to both the IT side as well as the user side, because we all know when security becomes inconvenient, people will find ways to circumvent it. Now, that's pretty much all that Power LogOn does. Is really that whole authentication process of it. But I do want to show you one other thing in the kind of levels of passwords that we're able to create. So here's a password generator program that's included into Power LogOn. And I'm going to go ahead and just manually set this to 20 characters. Because I have full administrative rights and the way I've set things up, I'm able to go ahead and do this. But this could have been blocked so that an employee could not make any of these changes. But here, I'm going to go ahead and generate a password. That could be my password to Facebook. That could be my password to Twitter. That could be my password to the network of servers. So you can see that these are nice, long, complex passwords that no brute force attack is ever going to go ahead and figure it out. All right, well, that's pretty much it on Power LogOn. I'd be happy to go ahead and show you some more features in some of the other videos that we do. We get into a little bit more detail of it. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call me. And as you can see here on the screen, what we start off with is our starter kit. You have 90 days to work with it and to play with it, to check it out, to see does it do everything that I need it to do, and it includes everything you need to run a small little 6-person pilot. And then once all that's done and you're ready to enroll, there's no more software to load. There's no more configurations that are required. Now it's just buying licenses and how many do you need and how many cards, how many readers. Again, you pick what you need. And we work with a lot of off-the-shelf cards and readers as it is. So if you already have technology that we work with, you don't have to replace anything. You can stay with that. We work with Prox, we work with MyFair, iClass, MagStripe, Contact chips, Java chips, you almost name it, we work with it. Okay, again, I thank you for your time. You have a great day.